We used the Bible against the religious coworker who stole food. My ultra-religious coworker was stealing our home-cooked meals. In the office, coffee and the fridge were sacred. The first was respected out of fear, the second out of education. But for months, the fridge became a victim of a selective mystery. The good food disappeared, while instant noodles and sad salads remained untouched. The suspect wasn't a new intern or a logistics error. It was Samuel, our moral compass. He had a Bible in his drawer, verses in his email signature, and the ability to turn conversations into ethical lessons. If someone complained about traffic, he spoke of patience. If someone arrived late, he cited the value of commitment. And if someone asked who had taken their food, he smiled condescendingly and said not to cling to material things, because God provided. Curiously, the same God seemed to provide Samuel exactly at lunchtime. We never saw him steal. We never caught him with a stranger's Tupperware in his hand. But the pattern was so consistent it stopped being suspicion and became choreography. Home-cooked meals entered the fridge in the morning. Samuel noticed the missing portions. Still, no one accused him directly, because Samuel had that uncomfortable aura that made you feel like a sinner just for doubting him. Until one day someone said the obvious out loud, and it no longer sounded exaggerated but therapeutic. Either we had a mouse with very specific principles, or a devout man with hunger and few scruples. We decided not to confront him in a normal way. That would have been rude, uncreative, and above all, boring. If Samuel lived by the Bible, then the Bible would be the stage. On Thursday, a different Tupperware appeared in the fridge, pristine, with a label written in large, neat letters that read, "Do not take, fast and pray." Below, underlined with almost schoolboy enthusiasm, was an impossible-to-misinterpret verse. "Thou shalt not steal." Exodus 20:15. The Tupperware survived exactly until 12:43 p.m., a time several of us remembered precisely, because it coincided with the dry sound of the fridge closing and the subsequent unjustified peace of Samuel returning to his desk. At 5 p.m., when no one was in a hurry and everyone pretended to work with suspicious dedication, someone proposed to clear something up quickly. It wasn't a formal meeting, but a spontaneous circle of desks, swivel chairs, and curious office gossip. In the center, like a symbolic prop too symbolic to be casual, someone placed Samuel's Bible, the one he kept in his drawer, open and clearly visible. The atmosphere was so uncomfortable it had already become funny. People were biting their lips to avoid laughing, someone pretending to check emails while recording with their phone, and another clearly enjoying the moment as if it were an experimental theater of the office. "You always say the truth doesn't need defense," someone said with a calm, almost offensive tone. "So it shouldn't be a problem to put your hand here and tell us if you've taken food that wasn't yours." Samuel didn't touch the Bible. He didn't deny it. He didn't confirm it. He turned red, but not from guilt, but from indignation with a moral certificate. He raised his voice as never before, accusing us of trivializing the sacred, of turning faith into spectacle, and of playing with things we didn't understand. He said with solemn tone that the Bible wasn't a game, that God wasn't an accessory for our jokes, and that each person would carry their conscience. The silence lasted only a second. Samuel slammed the Bible shut, declared he wouldn't participate in that circus, and left the office as if it were Sodom without looking back. From that day on, the fridge became a peaceful place again. Nothing disappeared anymore. No leftovers, no desserts, no faith in small-scale humanity. The following Friday, a new note appeared, written in anonymous handwriting and blue ink, stuck right in the center of the door. "Blessed are the honest." Samuel stopped preaching, stopped correcting, and stopped looking over his shoulder. He started bringing his food in a backpack he never let go of, as if the fridge had become profane territory. 2 weeks later, the rumor spread without an official notice or resignation. He had requested a transfer to a hostile environment. On Monday, his desk was empty. There was no Bible, no verses, no traces of sanctity.